Give it room to shine. Put some light on it. Let it shine. You just finished this amazing transformation and you really, really, really need to communicate how excited you are for it to the customer so they can get excited too and dish out that dough. My name is Grace Lauer. I'm with Uniquely Grace Designs and the Furniture Refinishing Academy. Staging is a visual message to the buyer. It's a clear and concise message of what is for sale. What exactly are they getting? How much care and effort you took to put into refinishing it, because you took just as much care and effort into staging and photographing it. All right, so you might already be staging your photos and you might be taking your photos with good lighting and that kind of stuff, but it's the bane of your existence, right? Like, you love the transformation, you love the refinishing, but then you have to photograph, list it, and sell it, and that process is not fun for you anymore, or it never has been fun for you. So let's think a little bit about our mindset on this. Instead of photographing a piece just to get it out of the house because you need to make room for the next flip that's fun, what if you photograph your piece and stage your piece to create a marketing photo for your company? What if your staging was a representation of how excited you were to transform that piece, or how proud you were that you created this like new, beautiful statement piece for somebody's home? What if that was the message you were trying to get across? Instead of thinking of just photographing and listing it, right? So if you were to seriously step back and take a minute to look at it and make sure that you've got everything that you need done. It takes all of 5 minutes to really take a good look at it, walk around before you take any photos, kind of see if there's any weird shadows. Can you fix that with any lighting? 5 to 10 minutes of care in your staging will result in magazine quality imagery. And magazine quality imagery will bring you the bigger bucks with your prices. So people will respect that much more if you've taken that much extra step or that much effort to make sure that you are actually respecting the piece that you just refinished and that you're wanting somebody to pay you money for in the end. Okay, so here's 3 tips on how to make sure you get really good staging and really good photography for each piece that you do, and it doesn't take much time, I promise you. Number 1, you want to have a blank wall. Some people don't have room inside, and so they use a brick wall on the outside. Some use their garage doors, or some just take pictures of it in their garage or their workshop with the stuff behind it, and there's no backdrop. If you were to ask somebody to spend $1,000 on a piece of furniture, but the back of it was somebody's backyard with a pile of junk in it, or it was a workshop and it was dirty and dusty in the background, maybe another piece is hanging out back there waiting to be refinished, would you want to spend $1,000 on that, or would you want to spend $200 on that? So how can 5 to 10 minutes turn into hundreds of dollars extra in profit? It's all about making sure you have a good background and good staging and good lighting and good photography. So these days, photography is easy. Our cell phones take amazing photos and videos. I'm actually recording this right now on a cell phone. That part is easy now. So let's go ahead and take a look. If you do a blank wall, so I have 100% moved furniture in my living room to open up a wall to put a piece of furniture, and I've done it over and over and over and over every weekend again. I move the furniture, I put the piece in, I put up my lighting, I get the natural light from the window, I take my photos, I move the furniture piece back out into the garage, and I put my regular furniture back in place. So yes, it can be done. If you don't have a spot, it can be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. So another option would be you could actually buy a backdrop stand. They're not that expensive on Amazon. Get a nice backdrop that looks like an interior wall. And you can lay that out in the middle of the living room, or the middle of the dining room, or the middle of the workspace in the garage. And that can be taken down and popped up anytime you need it, anywhere you have the room to put up that 6-foot wide wall. So I've lived in all these different places, all these different houses. My current location does not have space in the workshop at the moment. I'm going to be working on that this summer, trying to make a photo wall in the workshop that's stable, put up all the time, and it's just, you plop it in, take photos, and pull it back out. But for now, I bring it into the house, and I use the stairs, the wall underneath my stairs. So it has the kitchen is across from it, so I can step back into the kitchen and get a big image of the piece if it's long and wide. And for the lighting, I have room to be able to get the angles I need and things like that. Okay, so a blank wall is key, whether it's a faux blank wall, whether it's your interior blank wall, whether even, I know people who do pretty decent with the brick walls outside, but the key is to make it feel like it's inside, not outside. So you don't want like shadows coming through the leaves of the tree, casting weird things on the piece. You don't want concrete underneath. If you can put a rug down and then put it down, that's fantastic. And please, for the love of God, take it off of the furniture dollies. Take it off of the furniture dollies. So find your wall. Where is your wall? Is it purchased off of Amazon, or is it in your living room? Maybe it's in the front formal dining room we no longer use anymore. That's a great space, actually. If you have a formal dining room in your house and you never use it, turn it into a photo staging area for your pieces, and then keep your finished pieces in there if possible. That way you can keep them in an environment controlled zone. They no longer get dusty from being out in the workshop while they wait for their next buyer. So think of your staging as money. That 5 to 10, 30 minutes, even if it takes you to move your furniture out and move a piece in, that extra time it takes to do that can make you so much more money. 5 to 10 minutes for hundreds of dollars more. Hundreds of dollars more. Hundreds of dollars more. It's mind-blowing what it tells a customer when they look at a piece of furniture that's stuck in front of a garage door that's an interior piece. It tells them that you don't respect your piece enough to properly stage it, photograph it, and then sell it. Now, I get we all have restrictions, and it's expensive sometimes to find a backdrop and to find the way to hang it. You can even hang a backdrop on your garage door with some magnets from the dollar store. You can. Think ingeniously and outside the box, and think of how to make it look like it's inside a home. Okay? Blank wall. You need your blank wall behind it. All right, tip number 2 is where to find your staging decor. So I do pull things from my house regularly, and I put them back when I'm done. However, I have a small staging collection of items that it's not necessarily my style, so I don't have them out in the house, but I have them in the garage because I need them, because the style that sells in this area is not my personal style. My personal style is European cottage, kind of. The things that sell are very, very specific to Texan culture. So those are things that I don't usually decorate with, which is totally fine, because your style is not everyone's style. And so if you want things to sell and your style's not selling, maybe you should see what's going on in your local area. I have a program just for that. It's called Leveraging Facebook Marketplace for Market Research. And I'll share the link down below in the description. Okay, so we're talking about decor. I digress, sorry. So to gain your decor collection, what I tend to do is I tend to shop thrifty. These pieces are not going to be in my house. I don't want to spend a lot of money on them. It affects my bottom line. I want to buy items that are neutral, that can be used on almost any piece, or I want to buy items that are in the decor style of my local area, and I want to buy items as cheap as possible. So yard sailing and thrift stores are my go-to. Every time I go to look for a piece of furniture, I'm always on the lookout for any kind of item that I can find cheap that would be utilized well in decor staging. And I do not have a big selection of staging items that I use. I reuse all of them quite a bit. So buy things that can work with multiple pieces that are neutral tones. You don't want anything with bright colors. You don't want anything that's going to pull the eye away from the piece. So if you have this beautiful painting of Paris and it's got like that, you know, there's a very common one with the Eiffel Tower with like a bright red umbrella and things like that, and then your piece is white below, the eye is going to go to that red in the image when people look at the staging photo. It's not going to go to your furniture piece that you're trying to make your focus, okay? Also know that if you hang a piece of art above your furniture, it is okay to cut it off if it's on the wall and not have the whole art piece show in your sales image, okay? Because that distracts a lot of times from the piece, because you wind up putting so much of the photo space into the wall that your piece is now very small and at the bottom, and it's just like a nice base for everything to sit on that you've decorated around, okay? So thrift all of your, I also check the dollar stores actually too, because sometimes you can have really good fake decor items at the dollar store, little tiny things that you can just plop on the corner if you need a little something extra. Maybe it's a candle or something like that. I do check clearances for broken items because they can be clearanced down quite a bit, and you can always rotate the broken part to the back if it's a 3D item. So I check like TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Big Lots, things like that occasionally for something that might be clearanced out because it's busted, and I can get it really cheap that way as well. When you're picking items for your staging, I want you to think of trying to pick only 3 items to put on the top of your piece. So if you have a piece like this behind me, I have way too much going on here, okay? So I would probably pick like a small collection of these glass steins, like maybe 3 of them in different sizes, and I might pick like 1 of the vases because I already have a collection, and I might pick this little tiny Russian doll over here on the side and then put them together in a small collection. And that would give like a nice height variety and a little cluster of items in the corner of the dresser or the hutch piece, whatever it is that I am staging. So first of all, go with odds. So 3 and 5 and 7 if it's a big piece and you've got like a hutch top with a bunch of glass and you want to put stuff inside, you might do 7 across throughout the shelving. But if you're looking at the tabletops, try to limit it to only 3 to 5 maximum, because you really don't want to distract from your furniture piece. You just want to accent it and make sure that it is neutral items that are not going to detract too much from the actual piece itself. Okay, tip number 3 is lighting. You guys, I know we preach it on all the Facebook groups. I know we do, and everybody always gives a hard time if they feel they can't get the lighting right, or they don't want to try to get the lighting right. It's usually the case. So lighting is so important. So make sure, don't be anxious and like take photos at night and then list your piece the next morning because you want it to sell. If you need to, wake up with the morning sunlight and take photos then and get photos taken and get it posted by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning if it's a weekend and you really want to get it out for like that Saturday rush or whatever. Do not take them at night, okay? Because you just can't fix bad lighting unless you're a pro editor. That's the bottom line. So I highly suggest nice soft boxes of lighting. You can usually get a pack of those, 2 of them with Amazon, like 60 bucks or something like that, it 100% will pay you back in the amount of money you can earn in your sales over the amount you would earn if you had crappy lit photos to sell your pieces. So if your photos are very poorly lit and your piece is amazing, nobody's gonna see that and they're gonna scroll right past. It's gonna take longer to sell, and if people are gonna think that there's more flaws to it, that it's not new, they're gonna think again that you don't respect the piece that you just refinished, and maybe it is an actual used item without a new finish. Natural lighting truly is best, but not harsh sunlight, not direct sunlight. You want soft, natural lighting. So if you're going to use natural lighting, I suggest, like, I have a wall here in my living room and my window is on the wall on the corner adjacent to it. So the light in the morning gently shines in through there, and I can also use I have white shears on that window on purpose. So if the light is too harsh for any reason, I can soften it with the shears closed. It gives me nice lighting from the front side angle. Okay, I can also balance that if there happens to be shadows. I can balance that with my box lighting. So I usually use both. There are situations where you don't need both. If you stage it outdoors in a solid shaded area and it's a well lit day without clouds, you can usually get a really nice even lighting on your piece. But I'm going to tell you right now that box lighting is going to be your friend. Lighting, lighting, lighting. You want the light to come in from a slight angle. So like if I'm looking at you right now, my light is not directly in front of me. It is just slightly off to the side. Anything coming from further out is going to start casting a lot more shadows than you probably would like it to. So you can actually balance that if you have like two big box lights. So say the window is on your right and it's shining in towards that, and you've got some shadows casting on the left. You can put two box light or two, one down low and one higher, kind of pointing down at the piece to kind of counterbalance that shadowing. Pull the light forward and back to your piece to kind of make sure you're not creating a harsh light coming from the opposite direction. So you want to just soften that shadow that's being cast by the natural light. So it's just a matter of softening shadows. That's the key. And you'll probably have to learn to play around with your lighting a little bit before you actually get the good hang of it. So you want to make sure you practice that, and you really take about 5 minutes or so to set up your staging and set up your lighting and be able to take time to try to get that as good as you can at the moment. And the more you learn about how your lighting is working in your photos, and you kind of consciously look at that when you review your photos later, you'll be able to subconsciously fix that when you go to set up the next one. And you'll start learning more and more about it as you do it. And great lighting will show the true color of the piece as best as possible through the device communications. All of our cameras will give a little bit of tint one way or another with the camera itself, and then uploading that to the digital world and then having somebody look at it digitally. Their screen might be more rich in color than the next person's screen, but if you can provide the best possible lighting, it will give your piece the best possible chance to communicate the exact color to the customer through the digital media. Number 4, we're talking about staging and photography. Multiple angles and detail photo shots. So here's my piece of furniture. By the way, this is my merch. You can find this at my Etsy link down below in the comments. I'm also wearing the shirt with the matching pattern today. Merch plug done. Check. All right, so here is my furniture piece, right? So you're going to take a straight on photo, and then you're going to take a photo slightly from the side and the left and the right. You might actually take a full photo of the side. It depends if you have detailing or if there's like maybe transfers or something on the side. You want to take a full photo on the side, but take a side angle from the left and the right, full side of the left, full side of the right, full front on photo, and then take one slightly from the top so you can see the top finish that you've created. You don't have to take it directly from the top because that means you have to get out a ladder. But what you can do is stand on a chair and get an angle from the top and get the whole top in. All right, and then maybe you want to take just a photo of the details. So look at that beautiful detail. So the details might be things that are original to the piece. Pull out one of the drawers, take a great shot of the dovetail. It might be the original handles and pulls that you left and cleaned up. Take a nice close-up image of the handles and pulls. It might be the feet that you added because you raised up the piece and put it on a new base, right? Those feet, go ahead and take detail photos, or maybe they're hand carved and they're actually original to the piece. Whatever the details are, make sure you capture those close up in your photo. To do this with your camera is fairly easy because you have your auto focus settings and all that stuff. And yes, our phones have autofocus as well. And some people are really great with camera manual, so that's fantastic. But if your photos are coming out blurry when you go to get close to them, do not zoom in on your camera. That's when you start to get really pixely kind of imagery. You want to get as close as possible and then touch your screen. Usually, if you touch the screen of your camera on the phone, it will put a little circle in the middle where you touched it, and it will try to focus in on that, whatever that is. So if you touch the dovetail and you touch the hardware of your screen and then take the photo, some cameras will, phones will actually take a photo after you touch it, and it'll be like, oh yeah, focus there, and then click. But some you actually have to manually click. So take time to make sure that those are focused, detailed, and clean imagery. No blurriness, no pixelation. Some of your cameras you can zoom in a little bit before it starts getting kind of crazy. It's better to take the photo in a good image regularly and crop it down a little bit than it is to zoom in, because of the way our camera zooms are on our phones. They're digital zooms, not optical zooms, which is a whole nother thing with cameras. I'm not going to go into that. So make sure that you try to take as clean and crisp and clear photos of your detail shots. And you want to make sure that you take at least a minimum of 10 excellent photos of each piece. So right here, you've got your front is 1, your slightly to the right is 2, your slightly to the left is 3, your full on left is 4, your full on left is 5, your picture of the top is 6. Look how fast this is adding up. And then you have 4 more minimum of detail images that you can take. The feet, the hardware, the dovetails, it might be the two-tone top that you did, or it might be the transfers that you put on it. Something like that. You can easily find 4 things to show off and highlight in your imagery. And if you're really pushing the need for 10 photos of your piece, I highly suggest getting in the shot, making yourself feel good with what you're wearing, getting in the shot, setting the timer on your phone, and getting a photo of you with your piece. For one, it's going to be great for marketing in the future. 2, it'll actually show the buyer in your selling listing that it was recreated by someone with caring eyes or a loving smile or whatever your beautiful attributes are of you. Okay, so that connects them to you. They see your face. Challenge you to get in those shots. You just have to do 1. It doesn't have to be the main image in your listing. It just needs to be in the photo reel of all of those. So if you're struggling for 10, I say 10 because most platforms ask you to upload at least 10 or has room to have you upload 10 photos. I just gave you a list, very easy list of 6 mandatory images and room for 4 detail images, and 3 if you needed to on the details, and 1 of you with the piece. All right, so that's very easy to do. Once you get in the habit of it, it becomes like clockwork, and it really doesn't take that much time. Make sure also that you document any flaws that you weren't able to repair, and be very clear about what they're getting exactly. Yes, this is going to be huge for you. I really, really hope that you take the time to start to learn how to stage minimally complimentary and be able to earn more money for your pieces. Give it some room to shine. Dress it for success like it's showroom worthy. Thank you so much for joining me today on Don't Drink the Paint Water. Again, my name is Grace Lauer. I'm with Uniquely Grace Designs and the Furniture Refinishing Academy. You can join my Facebook group, the Furniture Refinishing Academy. It is open and I welcome everyone to join. It is a great little group right now and growing, and we are there to support one another and to learn great key things like this. Remember, you got this and I've got you. Thank you very much for listening today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week. Tschüss. There's my baby girls. Can you say hello? Say hello to my friends. Say hi. You're a pretty girl. Say hello. Hi, everybody.